all-day shift at the shop he now worked at had helped somewhat, but now that was over, he was left with little to distract him. It wasn't long before Harrison found himself strolling past the police station, which meant he was only a few minutes away from his cottage. It was quiet, much like the rest of the village around him. The evening was drawing in quickly now, and the lights from the windows were orange and glowing gently. Harrison stopped and watched the building as the wild and completely foolish thought of him strolling in and asking if D.S. Blake Harte was on duty went through his head. Quite what he would do if the answer to that question were yes, Harrison had no idea. "Don't be stupid," he said to himself. He continued walking past the station, and as he was silently thanking sense for prevailing, he heard a voice he instantly recognized. "Harrison?" Harrison froze. It was Blake. Harrison frantically wondered how his hair was looking, felt grateful for the fact that he was wearing a coat that covered up his work uniform, took a deep breath, and turned around with a grin. "Oh, hi, Blake." Blake was standing at the door to the police station, e-cig in his hand. He wandered across to Harrison with a genuine smile on his face, one that Harrison quickly realized was less manic than his own. "How have you been?" Blake asked. "I haven't seen you about in a while." "I'm doing okay." "I'm sorry about that night at the pub," Blake said. He sucked on his e-cig, which then began flashing intermittently. "Bugger out of battery." "Don't worry about it," Harrison replied. "Was your friend all right the next day?" Blake grinned as he put the e-cig back into his pocket. "No, she was ridiculously unwell. Still, the amount of cider she drank does that to a person. I didn't have a single shred of sympathy for her." Harrison laughed, then put his hands deep into his pocket, desperately thinking of something else to say. His brain had gone completely blank. There was a few seconds' silence, which felt like an age. "Well, I best get back," Blake said. "You take care." He turned to walk back into the station. From out of nowhere, Harrison suddenly said, "It's my birthday today." Blake turned around, his eyebrows raised. "Yeah? Well, happy birthday. Have you got much planned?" The last thing Harrison wanted Blake to know was the truth about his lack of celebration for the day. "Oh, you know," he shrugged. "The usual." "Well," Blake smiled, "I really hope you enjoy it. Don't do anything I wouldn't do." "Fat chance," Harrison thought to himself bitterly. "I won't, promise," he said instead. Harrison turned and walked off down the street towards his house, unable to stop himself smiling happily. If only one person was going to wish him a happy birthday today, he couldn't have been happier that it was Blake. Chapter 2. Filled with sympathy, Blake watched as Harrison wandered off down the street. Throughout his time in the job, there had been few people he had dealt with who had had to go through such huge emotional upheaval as Harrison Baxter. He thought back to a couple of months ago and the night he had seen Harrison in the Dog's Tail. Blake's best friend, Sally Ann, a sergeant from his old position before he had moved to Harmschapel, had been visiting, and as soon as she had clapped eyes on Harrison, Sally had tried to set the two of them up. Up to that point, Blake had not considered Harrison in any other way than a mere segment of the case he had been working on. With all of that over, he had realized that Harrison was a really lovely person, certainly a million miles away from Blake's ex, Nathan, who he had discovered cheating on him with a woman, and was the ultimate reason he had come to Harmschapel in the first place. But while Harrison and Blake had been getting to know each other, and the smallest possibility for a mutual attraction had begun, Sally had quickly brought an end to the proceedings. The last cider she had downed had been one too many, and she had projectile vomited all over the bar before she could get herself to somewhere more discreet. Blake had been forced to say good-night to Harrison only to take Sally home, where she had promptly passed out on his living-room floor, not rising again till the next morning. Ever since that night, Blake had found himself wondering what could have happened between him and Harrison, but the opportunity to find out very much seemed to have passed.